over here.
Well, thank you. I'm kind of between a rock and a hard spot here. I'm the guy that's got 80 acres out there that Dick just mentioned. I've got a property to the south of me that I have 80 acres of a hay operation. I just talked to the planning commissioner, and he said I'm the only one out there based upon the use permits out there, the covenants, if you will, that is in compliance, because that's agricultural. The only one down the road is Burnett, and that's a ranching farming operation. Dana doesn't farm. He uses Hank Bowers and myself. Hank Bowers' yard is covered with all kinds of grass and piles of bridge timbers, vehicles and that sort of thing. I counted 2 days ago, there were 13 vehicles in front of his property. When I bought that place out there in 1991, there were fewer vehicles out there on both properties than there are now. Now, I realize the situation, and I've been working with Dana trying to help him with some kind of screening. And he's done a lot of work out there and that sort of thing. These guys are my neighbors. The last thing I want to do is pull out my pistol and start hunting people because they shoot back. So, yeah, you know, I want to get along with everybody. The problem I have is that the fellow to my south has never shown up in any of these meetings that I know of. Is Hank Bowers here? This place is an absolute mess. Now, there are 7 vehicles that set down below a dam. He was here earlier? Okay. He has 7 vehicles set below a dam. Now, this issue has to do with severe reclamation in Castrol Cove Irrigation District, and that dam overflows, and it runs right through those 7 cars. There isn't a piece of material, metal, on those cars that could be salvaged for any darn thing that you could imagine other than maybe riprap or getting crushed. The other cars out in front of the property have been there for years and years and years. They probably were at one time really in great shape for recycling or rebuilding. So then we have a fire hazard. And then if you've ever ridden my big field tractor, as I pulled my big 16-foot hydro swing swather and swat the skunk, that's not a happy situation, and that comes from these old car bodies, guys. And the health department's been out there years ago. Now, I've worked with Castrol Cove Irrigation District so that we don't have a water flood flooding my pasture and Dana's place, which adds to all of this. It's all a piece of it. But it has to do with protecting everybody's property. I came, while listening to all this talk here, I came up with 3 definitions. And I'm recommending to zoning folks the property size and its location, along with the numbers of vehicles on the property size, should be taken into consideration, because we're talking about lots of different people with different emphasis on the business they have. You've already discussed that. So if you have a property size and it's 2 lots in town or on the edge of town or something like that, that should be taken into consideration. How many, and should those vehicles be covered or uncovered? It's in the state of repair or rebuilding, like that. The other is when you're in a zone that's zoned agricultural, and then you have a building that's used for taking asbestos off the pipe, and it's an agricultural zone, that should be taken care of. I was one of the people who met with the commission at one time several years back about a lady out on 10 Mile. And this guy came out there and built this building and started taking asbestos off the pipe. And she protested. And I was her mouthpiece, so to speak, in front of the commission. And he had to shut it down. But he was allowed to do that by the commission on a special use permit. That was an absolute no-no. So there's a lot of things going on, but there's no one definition that fits everybody in this room. So there has to be more than one definition. A definition for you, sir, a definition for Dana. and it all includes the size of the property. And then where are these vehicles located on that property? Now, the fellow to the south of me, he has all kinds of vehicles. He could put those, he's got 20 acres. He could put that back on the west end of his property and nobody could see it because he already has a truck back there and he has a big land claim back there. He used to have it stored on my place before I bought it. So these things could be moved around and screened, and in his case, and then mow the grass and take all the bridge timbers out. In other words, clean it up. This goes into the next issue. I live in Vista West 1, and I've been the president of the Homeowners Association out there on 3 different occasions, and this represents over 200 acres. And we have some really strict regulations out there, far stricter than the county, because that's the way it works, and or the state. So what happens is, if I have more than 4 cars out in front of my house, it doesn't make any difference if they're all Cadillacs. I can't have 5. I got to put 1 behind the house. If my yard isn't clean, my neighbor's bitch. We're talking property values. The value of the guy that has the vehicles has a stake in his property values. The guy next door has a stake in his property values. So all of the people here have to keep something in mind. If you keep your county clean, your property values go up. For example, if you have a guy come into your place to do some plumbing and he pulls up in a rickety old pickup and it looks like the devil, you're going to hire him back? Because if he can't take care of his equipment, chances are he's not going to take care of your stuff either. So see, sight and quality and expertise and all those neat things that have to do with keep it clean and all that sort of thing go into this. So I've come up with three definitions that I think all of us can start with. Say, where are you located, how much land you have, how many vehicles you have, are they covered or uncovered? What is your business? Is it sustainable? If it violates the state statutes, you've really got a problem because these guys are charged with enforcement. That's another, see, and what happened is, last I knew, the guy that helped make these laws was sitting right over here 37 years ago, and these laws have been on the books at the state level for 37 years. Now, some of the commissioners in the past have not taken this issue on because it apparently never came to their attention to this degree. So while we were all meeting with Barb and all the rest of you guys that were at these meetings, which I attended, we all came to the conclusion that what happens in Denver or what happens in Los Angeles, when the population spread and all of these additions happened, the guy that's buying the property to put in an addition tries to get the people that have the yards for cars or whatever is bought out somehow. Something changes. So during that meeting, I suggested to this committee, go to Colorado, Secretary of State's office, and find out what they did. Go to Los Angeles, Secretary of State's office in Sacramento, and find out what they did. And then go to the definitions so that they didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Nobody is trying to beat up on anybody. It's that everybody has to get along. I've got to get along with Dana, and I've got to get along with Hank. But if he has such a mess, I take that in quotes in gentle terms, that it destroys his property values and mine, then we got to do something about that. If Hank Bauer doesn't clean up his place and it detracts from my property values, right now I've got a $500,000 place out there. I've got a 30 by 60 steel building out there for my shop, or a 60 by 30 by 100 foot steel building out there. It's beautiful. I got a beautiful little 30 by 40 barn, and I've got a place I can live.
What are you doing? You guys aren't playing.
And I've got an underground sprinkler system out there.
Give you that playing.
3,500 feet of aluminum 6-inch pipe supplying 2 sidewalls. It's as good as I know how to do it. And I don't want that property value destroyed. So this comes to you guys. We've got to do something for you that you can enforce. Because if you can't, like the county attorney said, nothing's going to happen.